Hey everybody, welcome to the Scott and Brandon Show. This is going to be a new segment that we're doing called the Mideast Update. So Brandon, what is going on over in the Middle East for all of those who might not be aware?
Oh, I appreciate it, Scott. And so Mideast update. I'm pretty excited about. Although I think we need a cooler name than just Mideast update. It
That's
sounds
fine.
very cliche, but
We can call it whatever you
maybe our
want.
viewers can leave some comments and like call it this. So we'll see. We'll see what pops up. No, but I want to talk about the Mideast. A lot is going on. A lot of pandemonium, say across the globe, in regards to the conflict that is currently going on over there between Israel and Hezbollah specifically, although yes, they're fighting Hamas and so forth down there as well in the south of Israel. But in the north of Israel, that's right now where all the tension's kicking off, and that's the main concern. I'll just have to say this: when it came to October 7th, which we're almost at a year now, which it's hard to believe for me. I can't believe it's been almost a year they've been fighting. It
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's been that long ago since I heard the news about the initial attack. So
it's just been crazy. But anyways, the war that is going on currently has been viewed as, on both sides, from the Jewish and the Muslim community, that this is a war over the Temple Mount. For very various reasons, and maybe we can do a separate episode on that. But that's coming from both sides, right there.
So, Brandon, real quick, just for people who may not be aware, what is the significance of the Temple Mount for both sides?
So
just real quick.
Yeah, the Temple Mount is pivotal to both sides. Obviously, you have the Dome of the Rock, which belongs to the Islamic community right there. Mm-hmm. And that's where they obviously only Muslims can enter, no Jewish can enter. Now, at the same time, the Dome of the Rock sits presently upon the same mount that the Temple of Solomon, the original Temple of Solomon, stood. Obviously, that got destroyed the first time, and then another temple was rebuilt. And so there is a longing to rebuild the temple today. Everything is currently in place right now. The Jews, even the Israeli government, which is pro Third Temple, has everything ready in place to actually rebuild the Third Temple, with the exception that the Dome of the Rock sits in place of where the temple should be built upon, according to biblical standards.
Very
so
interesting.
So with that being said, obviously recently, Israel assassinated two people pretty quickly.
A few people, yeah.
Yeah, well, a few, but these two specifically are very interesting. One, obviously, you have the Hezbollah leader, which his name is Fuad Shukr. I'm obviously butchering his name. He was killed in southern Lebanon. The other one, which was really more interesting, it was the Hamas leader, political leader, Ismail Haniyeh. I can't even say his name. Ismail. I can say his first part, but he was killed in Tehran. Not only was he killed in Tehran, he was killed by a bomb that was planted a couple months prior.
That's pretty intense.
Which means Israel had been watching, which obviously Iran is now struggling because they're wondering how did they break our intelligence and figure out, and they had a bomb in us from several months ago. Like, they've been watching this entire time.
That's crazy.
Which is crazy for any nation to realize that another nation has infiltrated. So with that being said, obviously there's much concern right now that on Tish B'Av, and again, I could be butchering this. This is a Jewish holiday, which, well, I want to say holiday, but it does commemorate the destruction of the temple, the time of fasting, mourning, and practice of self-denial, to remember the destruction of the first and second temple, but also to hope and long for the third temple. Yeah. So they're expecting Iran, based upon Western intelligence, to attack Israel somewhere between that time frame, the 12th and the 13th.
That's very interesting, given the background of, supposedly from both sides, this is a war for the Temple Mount.
Yes.
So, the fact that Iran's choosing to respond on this particular Jewish holiday is pretty interesting.
Whether Iran will be directly responding is in question. It is believed that Iran's going to obviously use Hezbollah and its proxies, obviously in southern Lebanon, which is on the northern border of Israel there, for those who want kind of a geographical picture of it, that, this is going to lead to all-out war. So there's going to be fascinating to watch, to say the least. The U.S. has ships everywhere right now. Troops are stationed everywhere. Yeah. More troops have already been deployed. So there is a lot hinging on these next few days, and it's just for what Iran is going to do. And why this is so important is because, one is that the Israeli people currently, and you can actually, there's articles on it, are crying out for their Messiah. They are crying for their Messiah to show up and appear. Yeah. And the Muslim community is starting to band together, and we're starting to see that. Recently, President Erdogan of Turkey has said that he would invade Israel. Now, a lot of people think are calling his bluff, but Turkey is a nation that is talked about in the Bible that eventually a massive army from Turkey will invade Israel at some point in the future.
So I'm going to interject real quick. Give us a quick, where is Turkey in the Bible? Because I don't necessarily see the nation's name in Scripture. So
yeah, so it's actually,
where are you getting that from?
Yeah, it's actually a couple of them. All these hard names to pronounce. Mushal, Tubal are names originating. Yep. I think it's Ezekiel 38. That are coming from Turkey. So this massive army that is to come from the north. Now, obviously, Ezekiel 38 is referring to a separate, distinct, in my opinion, event. Nevertheless, to say that Turkey is a player, the Muslim center community is the player that's going to play a huge significant part in what I believe is the end times and the appearance of the Antichrist. So that's just a little bit, theology mixed with what's current going on in events with the Mideast update, and we'll just keep watching. So,
all right, very cool.
Close it off there.
Yeah. Well, Brandon, thanks for the deep dive into the Middle East, and it's a pretty dense topic. So
it is, and it's so complex.
There's lots going on. There's lots to discuss. So, we just wanted to kind of run over that with everybody, just to let everybody know. Brandon is, he's very passionate about the subject of the Middle East, and I'm always a big fan of being informed on the topic, and because I do think, like it or not, Israel is a very important nation on the world stage, biblically speaking and geopolitically speaking.